Country is still talking about Bryan Acheampong's comments. And my take on it is really quite simple. Anybody who is discerning knows that the man wasn't saying that they are going to throw away the constitution and never hand over power and turn Ghana into a dictatorship, regardless of the outcome of the election. Everybody knows that he was suggesting that they are not going to lose, for which reason they would have to hand over to NDC. And I think it is logical to conclude that's what he meant, because this man, he lives in Ghana like you and me. Me, if the constitution is thrown away, I have a lot to lose. But even I am not as rich as Bryan Acheampong. I don't own as much property and employ as many people as Bryan Acheampong. So if the constitution is thrown away, Bryan Acheampong will lose a lot more than I will. But the point is this. It's not about what discerning people understand. It's about what the masses understand and what the masses will act on and how the masses will respond if they misunderstand what you say. And what he said is very open to being misunderstood. Very open. The words, the choice of words, really incendiary. Saying, first of all, starting off by saying that if the NDC wants to use violence, they will meet them with the men. Or they have the men to meet them, or whatever it is. You first say that. Then you follow with this saying that this NPP party in government will never hand over power to on any platform to NDC. Yeah, you say that, and the crowd is riled up in response. But you have to understand that there is a section of the public that might take that literally. And regardless of the outcome of an election, might act to the contrary. That can happen. So to prevent any such outcome, which would be out of your control, you finished saying your thing. You've said what you have to say. You've left the stage. To prevent such a thing, at this point, you should be avoiding being misunderstood by explaining what you actually meant. But the most irresponsible response or reaction to this has been from the party, who are saying that they stand by what he says. They know that what he says can be misunderstood. They know it, but they are standing by it. Nobody is seeking to explain, to let everybody understand that as a political party seeking our vote, they support and defend the constitution and would not support any message that suggests that the constitution should be thrown out. This is what I would like to hear. When you know that the thing that was said can be misunderstood. So I think it's very irresponsible on the part of the party to come out and say they support the statement. I should be hearing an explanation of the statement, because I have no doubt that they are not actually trying to tell us that they want to throw away the constitution. I have no doubt about that. I mean, unless somebody thinks that is what the NPP intends to do, I genuinely don't want to hear a party say that this is what they support. It's so unfortunate and irresponsible. Whichever party official said that, the questions should now be answered by him.
If you want me to understand you properly, you speak quite clearly. And you see, politicians use language. Listen, the man, if he told us how he was going to fix planting for food and jobs, rearing for food and jobs, and all the other things you've done in agriculture as the minister for that sector, I am so convinced there will be very little to misunderstand about that, because clearly those are things that are important to us. Food prices are still skyrocketing, and so we'll be interested in those ones. But at the core of this conversation is the fact that, well, politicians in this country know they'll get away with it. They know that whatever they say, it will only divide opinion, and it ends there.
Yeah.
What's the name of the gentleman? This one said he had, people have said less dangerous things. They have been invited by the police, sometimes arrested, prosecuted. But I can bet my bottom dollar on this. Nothing will happen. It will remain political talk, and we will pretend that we have moved beyond this. But the bigger question you should ask yourself, is that how we want our minister to speak? Is that the kind of person we want in public office? Is that a kind of example we want people in public office to set for themselves and for the rest of the people? Is that how we want young people to emulate the standards that we want in the society? If that's not the case, we should prevent people like that from getting to those positions. They don't add anything, they actually rather cause trouble. Your democracy is 100% electoral democracy. Nothing useful beyond that. There are no dividends beyond that. If the electoral part is also being made to look like it's a useless pursuit, what democracy do you have? So, I mean, yes, there can be different interpretations to this, but I am convinced we can get rid of people like that in our politics. Nothing will be lost through the process. Nobody will die. People will vote normally. The world will move on. And we'll be discussing more important issues, like how to get us out of this current problem that we have in this country.
Okay, so listen, who is Bryan Acheampong, Member of Parliament for Ebitifi, former Minister of State in charge of National Security,
Current Minister of Agriculture.
who got the highest votes in Parliament. MPs endorsed him from both sides heavily to become a Greek minister. He's a man that I've respected for a very long time. I truly didn't expect him to go like that on that stage. What is shocking, because when you say, they say put it in context, but when you read the text that says we're never going to hand over and that we will do this at all costs, Kojo said, well, you can't reasonably interpret it to mean that they are going to resist handing over and blah, 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 blah. But the point is, do you expect a leader to be associated with these comments to say these things? Particularly, this was Saturday. This was Holy Saturday. I mean, you can say that he was speaking to his people, but that's even more worrying, because yesterday when I engaged Dr. Ishmael Norman, or was it Dr. Acquah who said that he was charging the base, and that's critical. The people he was speaking to, did they understand it the way that Kojo wants us to understand it, or Kojo says the reasonable person would understand it? We spend so much money during elections campaigning and promoting peace, and the people who enjoy the most when we settle on these things, these are the politicians, and these are their words. It's absolutely worrying, and I think that people should think about it in the bigger context, not just, oh, he said it on a political platform and the party says they support and that he didn't say anything wrong. No. Don't think about it that way. The people that he was speaking to, the young people, the party supporters who were on the ground when he was charging, do they understand it the way that you're claiming we should understand it? Or they actually understand it to mean that at all costs, we're going to hold on to power no matter what? Politicians, they should live above all these things. We're tired of them.
Sorry, let's be clear. They are not claiming anyone should understand it differently. I am the one even saying They are not claiming. They haven't made any attempt to explain what they said. And by the way, the text we are reading is an English translation from a Chi comment.
Yeah, I'm not an Akan. I'm not an Akan.
Well,
how many of us are?
This one is from the New Crusading Guide. What you read, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but it's the same text that
So
has
let me.
also been
The
translated.
New Crusading Guide. I'm making a point. So
Yeah, I get it.
it's from the New Crusading Guide.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Let's move on. Now, President Akufo-Addo says he thinks of the next generation and not the next election.
Yeah.
But
Words.
everything the NPP has done is to the contrary. The NPP, yes, whenever I see this, people say, oh, why? But the NPP, right from 2021, break the eight. Break the eight.
Yeah.
That's all they've been thinking about. You are in a country where the economy is collapsing. Break the eight. You are in a country where you are begging the IMF. If they don't come in, we don't know what we will do. Yeah. Break the eight.
People are pleading on your behalf.
Everything the NPP has done since 2021 is to try and stay in office beyond 8 years. And for me, that is problematic. And see, so when you add all of these things and you add it to the statements made by Bryan Acheampong, it becomes even more worrying. But like I said, he should be apologizing by now. you should disagree with the party's position that we support you. No, you say that you didn't speak well. So I am sorry.